Yeah, I was in a Pikachu onesie, a plush Pikachu onesie, but other than that, it's all.
A Pikachu onesie. Holy shit.
Wow.
That is gold right there. Broadcasting live from inside the power band, this is The Blah. In this episode, everybody dies. I'm the Wolverine, along with There He Goes and the intrepid algorithm. Gentlemen, how are you?
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Hey, everybody out in podcast land. Welcome to this episode. This week, we're going to be talking about the, I don't even know how to describe it, mind-twisting, mind-numbing, mind-blowing Black Mirror episode, Bandersnatch, winner of an Emmy Award.
Really?
I believe it did. It was at least nominated. I should probably know what that fact is before I say that.
Nah, fair enough.
We'll get Jimmy right on that.
And while you're at it, Jimmy, get us a couple of coffees.
What's that, boss? You want a coffee?
Jimmy says it was nominated.
Right. I feel like one of us should do Jimmy. Just like face the other way. Like, hey, I got some donuts back here. They're a little. They might be a little stale, but you guys want them?
So Jimmy has confirmed that the 2019 Emmys are on the 15th of September, and Bandersnatch is nominated. So that has not happened yet.
Are you sure about that?
The Google/Jimmy says that.
His name is Jimmy Google.
Jimmy Google, yeah. That's where he's the guy. So should we start the show over?
It's either that or you're going to edit a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, folks. This week we're going to be talking about the mind-twisting, mind-numbing Bandersnatch from Black Mirror, which was nominated for an Emmy Award this year. So we're very excited to talk about this. Gang, where do we want to start?
I was wondering if you guys read Choose Your Own Adventures back in the day.
Oh my God, yes, I did. And I loved them.
Yes, I dabbled. And I also, I don't remember what game it was, but I believe I had like a sort of a text adventure game for the Commodore VIC 20, where you
Zork was like that.
Yeah, it might have been Zork.
It might have been Zork. Yeah.
But also that.
Also that. I definitely read the Choose Your Own Adventures, and they were great. Like, I was hooked on them. I couldn't remember a single one right now to save my life, but like, I remember being really into them when I was a kid. Like, they were super cool. It was like, get to here, choose this, jump to this page, get to here, choose X, jump to this page. Like, it was just cool and different,
Yeah, absolutely.
And there wasn't like a category. It wasn't like there was a ton of people doing it. It was like these one brand of books called Choose Your Own Adventures, like, I don't know. I'm surprised that didn't like catch on as more of like a thing,
Yeah, I kind of feel like they didn't catch on probably in the same way that Bandersnatch isn't going to catch on. We'll probably get into it a little bit. But
Ho!
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's any indication, the ones, I don't remember any of the names of them, but the ones that I did get, like, there was like a bin full of them at like one of the department stores, and they were like just on clearance or whatever. So I just grabbed like a bunch of them when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, went through probably, whatever, half of them or what, and, I want to, yeah. Yeah, I don't remember who the publishing company was, but
I mean, if they were in a clearance bin, Ben, I mean, that right there says it all. They were not catching on, clearly.
No, they were not.
Yeah, for me, I don't really remember anything about them other than I really liked them when I was a kid, and the only memory I have is like in an elementary school classroom. So I think we might have had a stack of them kicking around in the classroom that we would do like, I don't know, free time or some shit, or like, go pick a book and read a book time kind of thing. I remember loving them, but I think Bandersnatch reminded me of how often you run into dead ends, and when you're 6, it doesn't really bother you, but nowadays, it might.
Totally, dude.
Yeah.
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 So, shifting gears a little bit, maybe touching on Black Mirror would be interesting, just because like I've watched the first couple of seasons of it, and it's a great show, but it's a great show that makes you want to like slit your wrists at the end of it most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely dark, and I wish I had seen more episodes upon this broadcast of this podcast, but sadly I have not. I've watched a couple, don't remember a lot about them.
Like what? Like less than 5 or something?
Probably 2.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was looking for something new to get into, and I was like, oh, Black Mirror, people have been telling me about it, and it's been in my queue for a while, and then I got distracted by something else, and then I've watched maybe 1.5, 2 episodes, and then when you guys suggested this, I was like, oh, yeah, hey.
What about you, Benny? You get into it at all or watch many of them?
I've devoured everything they've made.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow.
And what do you think about the like idea that it's, it's not a feel-good show?
Not typically. I can think of like maybe one episode, not in the most recent season, but I think in the previous season. I can't even remember how many seasons there are of the show, but there's like 4 or 5.
Three or yeah. I don't know. There's more than 2.
Yeah. Okay. Jimmy, get on that.
Jimmy.
In the last season, there's an episode called San Junipero. That's almost
San Junipero is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's there's darkness in there, but it's almost kind of feel goody,
Yeah.
Yeah.
San Junipero for me is the only required watch for Black Mirror. The rest of them, like, there's good ones and bad ones, but that is fantastic.
Yeah, San Junipero was great.
Are you talking about San Junipero? Okay, right. And then and there's another episode listed that I haven't seen, USS Callister.
That's good.
That won 6 Emmy Awards.
Yeah, that one's good. That one's worth watching and going in clean without knowing anything about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a handful. There's a handful of them that are that are quite good. A handful of them that are like, yeah, okay, and then the rest of them had good production value for me, but just like made me want to die at the end. Just like, oh my god.
Right.
Yes, some of them are just fucking grim.
Oh, so grim.
And just gnarly, yeah.
I remember watching San Junipero and being like, oh, that's really good, and then sitting down with Emma and being like, oh, I watched this really good show. Maybe we should watch one tonight. And the next one we watched was like the darkest, deepest, worst, like murder, death, kill, rape fantasy ever. It was just like, okay,
wow.
Won't be watching that again.
Murder, death, kill? Jeez.
Yeah, it was heavy duty.
There's like no joy feelings there at all.
None whatsoever.
There rarely are. And speaking of which, I don't know, did you guys... I don't know how many outcomes are possible in Bandersnatch, but did either of you guys come out with anything? Any warm and fuzzy
Yep, I did.
Feelings or...
Yeah, there's one. There's one that wasn't... It's bittersweet, but there's one ending that I managed to hit that was, I think, the real ending.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, share it with the rest of the group?
Nah.
Spoiler alert.
Nah. So, all right. So digging into it. There's no real way to attack this because of how all over the place it is. But I got really lucky. I got really lucky on my first go around where, you fail through a couple times in obvious ways. Like, for example, the first choice that has any real meaning is accepting or declining the game offer. And the first time through, I accepted the offer and it failed and you cycle through again, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that happened to me when I watched it the second time, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple of, little fails like that, or like, destroying the computer versus punching your desk, or all that kind of dumb shit. But you cycle through to either going to crack that safe with the 3-digit code, or going through that mirror to flashback. And so if you go to the safe with the code, there's the first time for me, there was PAC and PAX. And so
right.
I chose one of those and it cycled through to a fail. And then I chose going through the mirror and it cycled through to a fail. And then I got back to the safe again and it didn't have, I was like, all right, I'll just do the opposite. I'll do PAC this time instead of PAX. And I went back and there wasn't, it was toy and PAX and PAC. So I was like, oh, that's weird. They changed it.
Oh, wow.
Right. That's where I got to.
Yeah. So I clicked on toy and it goes through to him getting the toy and then him getting on the train, and you guys might have hit the same ending, but I had quite an emotional response to that one, and I felt like that was like the real ending. It's the only ending where the dad doesn't get murdered, etc.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get to that one.
Well, the thing about that one, I guess, is that you actually have to fail through a certain cycle in order for it to show up at all.
Right.
So I just got randomly lucky and managed to do that. It wasn't the first time, like I said, I failed out a couple times before, but maybe that failing out of a couple times before made it so that it showed up at all.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, evidently you cannot get it by choosing correctly. You only get it by at least failing in one certain way. But nobody really knows which way. But
Well, I got to that on my first viewing, and I got to choosing between the code, like which was the password, and I chose toy, and then it went through. I think from there it goes to the kid having the toy, staying at the house.
yeah. So you grab the toy, and then the mom says, "We're going to go on the train. Do you want to come?" And you can say yes or no now instead of only saying no.
Right, exactly.
And so if you say yes, he goes on the train and dies. And did you get that ending or no?
I did get that, and then
Yeah, okay.
that was like the end of that thread, and it cycled back.
It does cycle back, but I still, like, it doesn't just go to credits and say, you won, congratulations, with fucking balloons and shit. But I feel like that's the one ending that I really appreciate.
It's like real. Well, there's
I wish that is how it ended, though.
That would be pretty awesome, actually. Yay! There's like confetti and firecrackers.
with like the cast in like a Walmart photo, like, you know, with like confetti and balloons and shit in the background. Everybody's like got thumbs up and like.
right.
But I think, I don't know, maybe
man.
based on the fact that I just had to spend 5 minutes saying, like, you say yes to this and no to that and yes to this, that might not be good audio. So I'm not sure how exactly to attack this thing without having it just going through the different choices, you know?
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of layers to this too, and I think as you go through after the first viewing, like the first viewing is like you're getting your feet wet, and then
Yeah.
you know, you start doing it again, you make the different choices, you see where they go, and you also see that there's like certain events you simply cannot get around. Like you cannot not go talk to Dr. Haynes. Like,
Yeah.
it will bring you back to that.
They really hammer that home.
Right. Like I chose take the acid the first time and then Colin jump off the building. And then the second time through, and so that was avoiding going to see Dr. Haynes. So then the second time I avoided going to see Dr. Haynes, followed Colin, didn't take the acid. He spikes the tea with the acid. And then I chose to jump off the building. And then you go back to Dr. Haynes, you know? So like you can't get around that. And then like the first viewing through, I got like down towards the end, it kept saying kill dad, and I was like, I don't want to kill dad. So I kept choosing not to kill dad, and it kept showing me the option kill dad. It was like kill dad, throw tea on computer. I was like, I don't want to kill dad, and then it would like
it was kill dad and back off.
Right, exactly. And then it would either wind back, or that thread would take me to another choice where it was kill dad and something else. And I was like, I don't want to kill my dad. And you know what I mean? So like, I just, I kept trying to avoid killing dad, and it just wasn't working, man. They wanted me to kill dad. So eventually dad died.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I felt like the toy ending was, I think, one of the only endings that you don't kill dad, you know? Like, you fail out early on accepting the game offer, but that's like a minute into the fucking show or a movie or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you grab the toy, you don't end up killing dad. So for me, it was way better, you know, to not murder my dad with an ashtray.
Right. Was that how he murdered him, with an ashtray?
Yeah.
Yeah, he smashes him in the head with an ashtray.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't see that part when I saw that today. I just saw that the blood dripping down his head, and I was like, "Oh boy, he finally did it," or somebody finally made him do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the murdering dad thing just is like, that's a whole branch that it just goes down into like a giant loop of different failures that could get quite frustrating. Where did you end up on all that stuff, Benny?
Yeah, I couldn't get out of the kill dad thing. I killed dad, buried him in the garden, and you know, I don't know. They found me out. Like, I think I got the game made, but you know, it was like they go to you know, after everything happens, and there's like the guy like reviewing the video game, and like they were talking about how amazing the game was, but the fact that it was such a strange story because the creator killed his father and buried him in a garden, and you know, like that whole angle. That was as good as I could get, and it got fucking hairy as hell in that whole thing. Like,
Yeah, it did.
like it's like at one point where he's in front of his computer, and it's like I forget what the two choices are, but one of them is just like that symbol.
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's like, who are you? Why are you controlling me?
Right. Yeah. And that like that symbol has been like sort of like a thread throughout Black Mirror. It's like this thing. So it's like this like weird kind of like meta kind of thing that they're doing, and I don't know what it's actually supposed to mean, but yeah, it was neat. I mean, ultimately for me, the choose your own adventure thing was just sort of, it was kind of an annoyance. I mean, it's fun to do like once, but like when you keep getting up against it and you just want to like play the story out, you just want to see what is going to happen.
Yeah.
It got a little much at a certain point. Like I almost wish there's like they would just release a version of it that's like, the definitive sort of
A straight version.
yeah, like just like a straight thing, because I think it's like the acting was great, and the characters were interesting, and the story is interesting, and I just would like to really know what happens.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is that you appreciate that George Lucas released a specialized version of Star Wars and definitively put it out there for the world. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't know where you got that from, bro. I think you're reaching, man. I think you're definitely reaching there.
No, I hear you. I think it would be cool to see. I don't know. Maybe I think there's probably like 3 versions of it or something. You could pick one of the 3 versions, just kind of cycle through them or something.
You know what I would have been psyched about if I'd been able to control Netflix with like an Xbox controller or something, so that I could just like kick back and watch it and like make decisions when they came up. Like literally, like I would find myself like lounging, and then I would have to like quickly get up and like, oh fuck, and like click the answer before before it like
Time was up.
ran out of time. Yeah.
You were like, oh god, now I got to get up and do something.
Yeah. Well, I hate to sound that lazy, but the story would. Well, here's the thing. The story would lull me into like, I'd just be getting into it, and like I would forget about the component where I would have to make a decision. And it, like ultimately, like I would space out into the story, and then the decision would surprise me every time. And I was like, oh fuck, and I had to like get up and like so I mean, I don't know, like did you guys like neither of you have been doing much gaming or whatever, but are you aware of like the Telltale game series?
No.
They've done.
Yes, I am very aware of that. I've actually downloaded a few of them on my Xbox Gold. I just haven't played any of them. The Wolf Among Us, one of the Batman one.
Oh, cool. All right.
Well, can you briefly explain what they are? I've never heard of them.
Okay. Well, I mean, they're sort of like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. Like I did they did a series for The Walking Dead. I don't know if I actually ever ended up playing the last part of it, but I mean, you kind of have to make like
morality choices.
Morality choices. The Walking Dead one was a very interesting one because like a lot of them were like really, really hard, really hard decisions to make. And then like occasionally like there'd be like a little action sequence or whatever where like, a zombie would crop up or whatever, and you had to fucking press a certain button or you would die.
Right. It's like Dance Dance Revolution meets Choose Your Own Adventure.
Oh my god. No.
Kind of like that, Yeah, I mean,
Ben, hold on. You know what it is? It's more like Choose Your Own Adventure meets Dragon's Lair. Remember that?
There you go.
Yes.
Because there would be, that's what it was like. It's like all of a sudden you got to press the button like left or like he dies. Like that's what Dragon's Lair was like. It's like,
And your dollar is gone.
Your dollar has evaporated.
Right. That's a great way to put it, Kev. Yeah, because I mean, you would end up going through like morality trees and story parts, but then like you're literally like controlling the character and walking around, and yeah, like Kev said, like a zombie would like crop up out of somewhere, and it would be like like the A button would come up on the screen. You have to like press like mash the A button, and then like something else would happen, and you'd have to like mash the B button or whatever. Like it was that kind of a thing. Like, and if you didn't do it just right, you would die.
Yeah,
You'd
right.
have to like start back from where you were before. But yeah, I mean that was interesting because I could kind of I mean it was another one of those things where you'd kind of get lost in the story, and like the decision making thing would pop up, and you're like fuck. but I was like sitting there with the controller. Whereas like with this thing, I was like, I'd like kick back and then have to like get up, jump up, and like so.
Well, like you said, with the game, you're constantly doing something, whereas with this, it's like every once in a while, just long enough to get annoying.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It was like watching a movie, and the decisions were almost like commercials or something. It had that kind of like a feel to it. Like it just sort of it like jarred me out of the story, and I had to jump up and try to, make a decision quickly, and then you would get back into it. But, and heaven forbid you've made a shitty decision, because then you have to go back. It took me like a minute to figure out that you could sort of like fast forward through the story to get back to where you were the previous time. But there was a little bit of like, I mean, it was enjoyable, but there was a little bit of the way it worked. Like it was sort of just the mechanics were like a little inconvenient,
Yeah.
But I think it's a great point, because like I was like, oh, this is a cool and interesting way to do it. And then when we talked about it last week, you were like, I just found this annoying. And I immediately was like, wow, now I want to hear about that. You know what I mean? Like, why? And like you bring up a good point. It's like, when you watch something, or you read a book, or even play like a good game, you want to get immersed in the story. I mean, I think that's why normal people watch stuff anyway, is like immersion. It takes you away from your current headspace, your current reality, whatever, and it puts you somewhere else so you can sort of play mentally and relax, whatever. And it's like you're watching it, and every time you have to make a choice, it's taking you out of that. And I just found that interesting when you said it last week, because I was like, wow, I've never really heard anybody like start hating on a choose your own adventure kind of situation. Like, like that's interesting that you thought that.
And when you say last week, you mean green room, chatting in the green room.
Yes.
That's what I mean by last week. Yes. In the green room. Right.
In the green room with Jimmy.
I misspoke.
And some coffee.
For the folks at home. Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy. Right. Jimmy Google. Hey, that's Jimmy Google.
Jimmy Google.
He's a good kid, Jimmy. He's kind of like Spider from Goodfellas,
Yeah.
No, I thought you said you were all right, Spider.
Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, that was a long way to go about.
That's where I died, right there. Spider.
That's it.
I'm writing that down.
I like that though. I just didn't laugh.
Spider. Yeah. I was like, yeah. I did chuckle. I did. It's in there. You can go back and listen to it.
I kind of feel like half the time I'm like trying to be polite so I don't interrupt like an asshole, and people die as a result. So maybe I should interrupt more.
Well, maybe you should, because I died right there.
Yep.
And I just wrote it down. A note: died on Spider.
And then at the end of the show, what the fuck is a spider? I don't understand.
Wait. I just died like Spider, because Spider dies in that scene. What just happened here? I don't know.
I know what happened. You died again.
Exactly. A double death.
So you want to touch any more on the frustrations, Benny?
I think I got it all out there.
You got a lot of your system?
I'm sure you guys experienced similar frustrations.
Yeah, definitely. I got, again, lucky and didn't experience it until my second go around. So it was just pure luck.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Like, I didn't even really think about that until you said that. So like, and then I was like, yeah, I could totally see how this would be annoying. But like, if I'm going with my gut, like I enjoyed it. I was like, I like exploring around things, like I was like, oh, this is fun to like kind of explore with, and like it's funny because you guys were saying like, you got you came to the part, where it's like Netflix or the weird symbol, the glyph. And then when I did it the first time, I kept like dying and winding back or whatever, and then I got to him exploring the whole pack thread, which was like wait, what does it stand for again? Power and control,
something like that.
Yeah, pack, power and control. So like so then the choice was the glyph or pack, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So, and then he went down the pack thread, and then he went to the safe and he hit pack and he found all the files like that. And then I thought that was a very interesting thread. Like, it's funny, I thought that was more interesting than the whole Netflix thread, because the first time I watched it, I hit Netflix and I was like, what's this going to be? And then it was like, then it was really like, tearing the fourth wall down. And it was like, you are being controlled by viewers watching a program in the 21st century. And I was like, kind of into that, but not really. I don't know. I wasn't that into that.
That one really bothered me. I was just like, fuck off.
Right. There you go. There you go, Chad.
Yeah, I didn't even get that one at all. So
like that was, and then like I think I chose the glyph one when that went nowhere, and it was like the glyph one didn't go anywhere. So then when I looped back or when I watched it the second time and I chose pack, it was I found that thread very interesting, and then it was all of a sudden it was like this huge conspiracy, and Dad's in on it, and Dr. Haynes is in on it, and it's like this whole
the mom
thing,
was an actress, and all that stuff.
Exactly right. And I loved how, and this is now I'm sort of diverging from that thought, but I really enjoyed how they kept showing the game reviewer. He was in many ways like sort of the end of each thread, like whether the game did, it was like, oh, sadly he died, so somebody else finished it and it's crappy, or it feels too short, like it was rushed, like I don't know. That was kind of interesting how they always had the game reviewer. And I thought it was interesting that they even had a game reviewer. Like I was like, wow, in the UK in the 80s, they had a game review show. Like, I mean, nobody was reviewing games to my recollection in the 80s. Like, people thought video games were just stupid and like a complete waste of time, man, in the US.
Yeah.
And not in the US. Yeah. Not on TV anyways.
It wasn't until like the magazines like Nintendo Power and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But even didn't that come later, Chad? Like 90s? Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like probably like 86 to 89 maybe.
That's when Nintendo Power came out? The magazine? Really?
Well, I mean, Nintendo... Oh, yeah, you might be right, actually. Nintendo NES might be like 88 or 89. Jimmy,
hook it up. Hey, couple of coffees. I don't know. There was like, all those like Game Informer. There was all those magazines that came out. I remember, reading a bunch of them. Over the years, I never had a subscription because I felt like subscribing to a game magazine was like a real low point in my life. But I did read random issues, like.
Now, listeners, don't let that stop you from subscribing to the podcast.
True that.
That's right. And don't let that stop you from retroactively subscribing to Nintendo Power, Game Informer, or PlayStation Magazine.
Jimmy. Hey, Ben as Jimmy, you want to let us know that Nintendo NES was 1985 and Nintendo Power was 1988?
Hey guys, it's Jimmy.
Jimmy Google.
Nintendo Power was 88 and NES was 85.
Oh my god. I can't decide whether that needs to happen every show or only one time.
Or never again.
Yeah, exactly. Or never again.
For the folks at home, this may be where the podcast jumps the shark completely.
I love it.
And Chad, stop pretending like Ben is Jimmy. Jimmy's a real person.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry, Jimmy Google.
I assumed that would all be edited out.
No, I think I'm probably gonna leave it all in.
Oh my god, no.
I think this would be a good place to
stop.
Talk about the 10 endings. Because there's 10 endings to the movie. What is it? Is it a movie or a show? A show, I suppose.
It's a movie. No, it's an hour and a half movie.
It's a feature length. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm just gonna call it a movie.
I guess I just died again.
It's a feature length trail off.
Feature length, But
I'm just gonna trail off into oblivion.
Wah, 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 wah.
I love it. The Price is Right. All right, so there's 10 endings to this thing.
Ben does it the best. Ben, do it one more time for the folks at home.
They heard.
Oh, dude.
That's your death, Kev. So
that was my third death.
That's it. Practically the Dalai Lama at this stage. So there's 10 endings that I saw some YouTube video about, which isn't worth linking in the show notes because it was kind of a dumb video. But just to quickly go through them.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck him. Shitty creator.
Shitty content.
The first 4 of them are pretty straightforward. So the first one's accepting the game offer, which is a fail. Pouring tea in your computer. Anytime you destroy your computer, it fails out. if Stefan, the main character, or Stefan or whatever, jumps off the balcony on acid, it's a fail.
Right.
There's one that if he chooses to take the medication given to him versus throw it away, he completes the game and it gets a really shitty review, and it's like Christmas time, and then that's kind of like a ending. Like it's a really weird, simple, short ending. So it gets like a 0 out of 5 stars from the nerdy guy, and he goes to the record store at Christmas time. And then you get into the actual endings. So we've spoken about Toy, which was the train ride where he chooses to die with his mom. Did you get that one, Ben?
Nope.
Okay, so basically you go into the safe, you get the toy, and you put it back where your dad took it away from you, if you ever saw any of that stuff. And you can say yes or no to your mom now, and you go with her. And when you go with her, you die in the train, and then it cuts to the main character in the doctor's office dead with a paramedic, and they're like, she's just like, he was just sitting there and he closed his eyes for a second and then he died, and that's kind of the end of that
that's
one.
crazy. That's crazy.
Which was interesting. The next ending was the PAC one that you were just talking about, Kev, where it's like conspiracy theory. The dad is not the dad; he's a scientist and all that kind of shit, kind of Stranger Things, kind of thing.
Definitely Stranger Things, totally.
The next two endings are the Netflix endings. So when you get to when he says, "Who are you?" you either choose the glyph or Netflix. If you choose Netflix, you can either jump out the window or punch the shit out of the lady with the nunchucks. The doctor ends up with nunchucks and has a big fight sequence.
That's interesting.
I didn't see that. I saw the fight sequence where he fights the doctor and the dad. Like the dad runs in and like he just kicks the shit.
Yeah, and you can kick the dad in the balls or whatever. Yeah, so that,
or chop him on the neck. Yeah.
So I feel like that's the worst ending. Like I had no time for it. But if you choose to jump out the window, it's a different breaking of the fourth wall where like he tries to jump out the window and they yell cut, and then the director comes on and is like, "Dude, you can't do that." And then he's like, "Oh, what?" And everyone's just like an actor on a set.
Can I just jump in here real quick with a little digression? Like when you said that about the action movie sequence ending, I'm picturing you on the couch watching it and going, "Oh my God, I can't watch this at 1.5 speed. B, I don't have time for this. I'm a podcaster. I don't have time to sit around and watch this stupid action movie ending. Fail.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
Is that how? Right? All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was in a Pikachu onesie, like a plush Pikachu onesie, but other than that, it's all
a Pikachu onesie. Holy shit!
Wow,
that is gold right there.
I think I now need to buy a Pikachu onesie, a double XL Pikachu onesie.
Yes, you do, and you have to wear it every time we do the podcast, and you have to post pictures for the fans. Fans may be a bit of a broad term, but
if we ever do any live shows, I'll wear a Pikachu onesie to one of them. I promise that right now.
Okay, all right, I'm down with that, dude.
If any of you listening recommend us to your friends and we grow this show, we do a live show, I will wear a Pikachu onesie at least one time.
You know what? We're gonna, but Jarhigo and I are gonna hold you to that, man. You know it.
I'll do it. Fuck it, I don't care.
I'll fucking do it. You sound
I'll
just
do it.
like
I'll do it if you do it.
I'll do it if you. Dude, I'll fucking do it.
I'll do
it right now, bro. It's like you sound just like we're back in the '80s, dude.
It's because we are. All right, there's 2 more endings.
Mm-hmm. Get in there.
Go ahead, Chad. Finish the endings. Go ahead.
So the 9th ending, which doesn't sound like you guys might have hit, but I hope that you did, is the Pearl ending. Did you end up going into the future where Colin's baby daughter is now an adult woman and she is remaking Bandersnatch after her father and the creator died?
Oh, holy shit, no. But that's cool as hell.
That was a cool one. Did you see that one, Benny?
Nope.
Wow, that's really cool. No, I didn't catch that one.
So it's like, for those that didn't see it, it's you choose the glyph and it cycles through in a certain way, whatever, and it cuts to an interview with Pearl, and it doesn't really make it super clear that she's the daughter of Colin, but
oh wait, that's the one I got. I'm sorry. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's cool. So you got that one. That one was cool.
That was the one I got. Yeah.
Well, that's good. It sounded like you got stuck in some shitty loop, but at least you got some sort of ending there instead of just fail looping.
Yes.
I think either two things happened just right there. I think either Jarhigo's hatred of the choose your own adventure style was clouding his mind from remembering what happened, or Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine, was clouding his mind.
Fair. I think the Star Wars reaching is hitting a climax tonight.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put. Just can I just? I'm gonna quickly jot down a fourth death. That's my fourth death. Go ahead.
It was definitely Palpatine.
Yeah, it was definitely Palpatine. Go for Papa Palpatine.
I was just gonna say that you're a tool. I hate you.
I don't know.
Still,
Fries. I'm not gonna eat them anyways.
what the hell is an aluminum falcon? I thought that the Pearl ending was cool. It was like it cuts to an interview of Pearl as an older woman, like a 20 something, and she's sitting in front of an iPad and an iMac, kind of like graphic designing the actual show for Netflix. So it's kind of meta in that way, where it's like, I'm going to make an actual show about this, and then it starts kind of tweaking out, like her screen ends up tweaking out, and it's throw T on the computer or destroy computer, and then it just fails, so it like the cycle repeats, which is kind of a cool ending.
Yeah, I like that. I definitely like that a lot. Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then the final ending, which is kind of silly, but makes sense considering, is like it's a secret ending where like no one really knows how to actually do it, but some people on the internet figured out if you do like these 20 steps, it unlocks this weird thing where, in the beginning he's on the bus and he has to choose between the two cassette tapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's now one of the tapes is like a black Bandersnatch tape, and you click on it and like
what?
It plays this really weird, like, I haven't heard the audio, but they say it sounds like, like old modem-y screeching audio. And if you run that through some sort of fucking program, it spits out like some sort of like hexadecimal code that then if you plug that into something else, it makes a QR code. And if you fucking open the QR code, it goes to a secret website. And then the secret website, you can play the fucking video game and all that kind of shit. So.
Oh my God. Wow. That's intense.
Which is like an ARG. Do you guys ever do any ARG stuff or ever hear about any of the ARG stuff?
Yeah, I've definitely heard about it. I haven't really indulged in any, but that's what I was going to say. It sounds like an ARG.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like you guys remember like a bunch of episodes back. I don't remember which episode. I brought up that whole Archer Easter egg.
Oh yeah, just like that.
Yeah, remember that? It's that sounds exactly like that, because that Archer Easter egg was like deep. It had like all these layers to it, and it involved like code and
what's his face, Krieger.
Well, yeah, you end up at a site called like Algersoft or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something crazy like that. Yeah, it was like it had all these steps to get there that were like totally nuts. And it's like it's deep, like it's such deep nerdery, like on a level that's even if I can be so bold, beyond ourselves.
Yeah, kind of. I have to admit that I participated a little bit in an ARG back in the day for Halo 2, I think it was.
Wait, what's an ARG?
So an ARG is an alternate reality game.
Uh-huh.
And so the Halo game was interesting. It was like, I think it was certainly before podcasting was a big thing. So Halo 2 was about to come out, and they were like using this. ARG is essentially like a way to market stuff. So the secret website for Archer, or the secret website for this, is like a way for like the Turbo fans to like turbo out and talk about it and stuff. And so there was an ARG for Halo 2. I don't remember the name of it, but I think it was called I Love Bees, and it was this weird audio drama. So they would release like 4 minutes of audio that was about like aliens invading Earth, and it was really confusing. And if you did certain things, you'd unlock websites, just like we were just talking about. And you eventually it ended up generating GPS coordinates. So there was like a list of like, I don't know, 50 GPS coordinates that some nerds found in some secret corner of the internet after listening to these audio pieces, this audio drama. And it happened that one of those GPS coordinates was in San Francisco, where I was living at the time. So I went to this coordinate and was like looking around, like writing down what was on it and being like, I don't know what the fuck I'm looking for. It turns out there were GPS coordinates of payphones, and at a certain time the payphone would ring and give you a code, and that code would give you a ticket to a movie theater where they had giant Man Geek Sundays set up so you could play Halo 2 before it came out. So like the Turbo fans that solved this puzzle would get to go and like play the game before anyone else got to play it. So it's kind of a cool marketing thing, but it's like super involved.
Wow.
You know,
that is super involved, but super cool too. I really like that.
It's a really cool idea, but it's like you said, it's pretty fucking nerdtastic. I really enjoyed it because of the audio drama. It was like a, probably 30-40 minute audio drama that was quite interesting, but it's an interesting format of marketing. And I'm dead. Pew pew.
Uh-oh, did we lose Kev?
No, you didn't lose me. Sorry. I was just spacing it.
Nope, no, we didn't.
Kev's still basking in the glory of my death.
Yeah, no. What death? What do you mean? You haven't died. I've died 4 times. You haven't died at all.
It's very fitting that I died talking about how I participated in a really nerdy alternative reality game.
Is that how you died?
Yeah, he finished his story, and we were both like,
Crickets.
Now the crickets were also sitting there just like, what?
it's like, whoa.
Whoa, man. All right, so that's all the endings.
That's really interesting, man. I was actually just looking up that whole secret ending thing. That's pretty cool.
That's how I died, is you got fucking distracted. So I actually didn't die. You died because you quit the show.
Yeah. You know what, dude? I think that I'm going to have to go back and watch this some more. And we may end up talking about this episode again.
I don't know if there's YouTube videos that actually show you the endings because it's kind of a bitch to get to them sometimes.
I kind of want to find it on my own.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't really have that kind of time.
With all that spare time you got to watch The Boys, bro.
Yeah, with all the spare time I don't have, totally, man. Sounds like a great way to spend it.
Yeah. You you know, it would have been a great Black Mirror thing to talk about?
What?
San Junipero.
Oh, we should definitely do one of those.
Well, let's table that, like, for or shelve that rather for another ep.
Let's definitely do it.
Yes. Yeah. Because I mean,
Okay.
Bandersnatch was fascinating, but it's so broad. I feel like we're kind of stammering here, trying to
Right.
stay on track and talk about it.
It's kind of impossible
I
to
feel like
approach, yeah.
It's hard.
But I think Chad's right though, Ben. It's like it's hard to be on a track talking about it. You're talking about a choose your own adventure where there's so many threads, man. I mean, like, you know, we could sit here for like an hour and a half or 2 hours and talk about all the threads, but I don't really think anybody wants to listen to that. I certainly don't, and
that's kind of why I thought talking about the endings kind of ties that up, and we don't need to go into the threads anymore.
Exactly.
We can just
That's
talk
exactly
a little bit
right.
more anecdotes, you know?
Yeah. It's anecdotal now. It's anecdotal. No, I think the endings are cool, and I enjoy just taking like 2 stabs at it and seeing where I ended up, you know. And it's like even if you just do, I think 2 go rounds, you're going to end up having to wind back or flashback, which is sort of a segue into one thing I did want to talk about. But
do it.
So you're going to have to wind back, flashback, and then do it again. So it's going to sort of drag it out. But one thing that did jump out at me that I thought was pretty cool was, like, you know, the whole thing like breaks the fourth wall in a major way, and like we've already sort of touched on that. But I really dug like when Colin was saying about the flashbacks, he's like, that's what the flashbacks are. That's how you can reset everything. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I don't know. That was intriguing to me. Like, at first I was like thinking, like, you know, when you have a memory or you have a flash of a memory, you know what I mean? Like going back in your mind, like, and then sort of starting over that way. But now as I'm like verbalize it, I'm wondering if he meant like, because the movie breaks the fourth wall, is he referring to the actual flashbacks that we, the user, are using as we're watching it?
Yeah. The first time I saw Colin talking in that acid kind of scene, I kind of took it as he also is aware of the lack of control in that world, not in the sense of it being a Netflix show, but in the sense of it being like a trap. And maybe like game developers of that era that are doing the text adventures are closer to the, I don't know, for lack of a better way to describe it, the tear in reality that ends up making it so that people in that universe, so to speak, don't have control. So he, like, clearly to me, Colin is a story mechanism to help push everything along. But at the same time, you can kind of like forgive the story mechanism part and just like kind of accept the lore that this universe has like no free will, and you as the viewer of this show are the god in this case. But regardless of there being like a show, there's no free will, and some people are closer to realizing it than others. And it seems like the overall meta story is that Choose Your Own Adventures uncovers the like fractured nature of the reality there, and so he's kind of also aware of how fucked up and fractured it is. Because like, no one's gonna jump off a fucking balcony just to like help this dude in his story. He's clearly like also in his own version of it, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's right.
You just melted my brain, dude.
But is that what you're? That's kind of what you were saying. I thought though, Kev, is that he talking about flashbacks is kind of like, is he or isn't he part of this, or is he or isn't he onto something? Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Wow. You sort of just expounded on what I was saying in a way that I didn't even think of.
Can you clarify what it was you were saying then? Because I wasn't really following.
No, I don't need to clarify it. Like, I think it was pretty clear. I'm saying you just like added more to it that made it even crazier. Like, so like, cause I didn't even think about that. Like Colin is having his own. Oh my God. Wow. That was intense.
But he also shows up. Like if he jumps off the thing and dies, he'll show up sometimes after that, you know?
Right. And then there's a bunch of times where like, what's his name? Mr. Tukar is like, oh, he went AWOL. He's in Amsterdam. And I was like, wait a minute. Is he? Or did he die? Like, cause there were threads that got me to that part that didn't involve, him jumping off with the acid. Like when you choose to jump yourself.
Yeah, you fail out. If you choose to not follow Colin, it just skips it and he's in all the scenes.
No, he's not. I feel like I took that choice at one point, and like, so I chose to like, no acid, don't follow him. And then he still went AWOL. I remember that happening one time. Anyway, whatever. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Like is that what he's talking about? Like you literally doing the flashbacks as the Netflix viewer, or is he talking about some sort of, I don't want to say power because that sounds too dumb, but you know what I mean? Like you can like flash it back in your mind and like you're there for real. You know what I mean? Like, or rather that like it's all happening inside Stefan's head.
Right. What do you think, Ben? You think it was in his head?
Yeah, Ben, help me.
I don't know. I want to say it's all of those things, really. I mean, I don't know.
It kind of fits with the like three main narratives, you know, like it's all real, A, it's all in Colin's head and he's fucking crazy, B,
Okay.
or it's all meta and you're a fourth wall breaker, C.
I want to more or less go with it's all of those things, or it's all meta, depending on where you end up going after that, you know.
Right.
But it's really, it's kind of like you said, Chad, you're the god in the story, so it's sort of up to you to decide, I think, what that is.
Right, but if you take like that one ending that Chad was talking about that I did not see, where it suggests at the very least strongly that Pearl is living in the future now, okay, as the daughter of Colin,
dead
okay,
Colin, yeah.
Right, dead Colin, however he died, you know, and then she's creating either the story on Netflix or recreating the game or recreating the whole thing as an interactive experience on Netflix would make it like this sort of ultimate, like, this is going to sound so super nerd, but here goes, like, quantum reality, fourth wall breaking nerd loop from hell that sort of keeps creating itself. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like
so
the Ouroboros, like the snake eating its tail thing.
It's like Ouroboros. So she creates the interactive experience for Netflix, and then you start watching it as Colin. I mean, as Stefan, from his point of view, make the choices, and he knows that Netflix is a thing and it's controlling him, and somehow Colin does as well. And then that's the point where my brain starts to melt, because then like it's a show.
I like that. It's like a whole another layer of meta. You're looping through her creation back to her failure.
Because it's a show, but then it's not a show, because Colin has the child, and then the child grows up to create the interactive experience. It's like, like a Mobius strip, man. Like it's like you were, like what you just said.
Well, and also her character would clearly be screwed up by her dad dying when she was an infant, and it would be likely a way for her to like seek closure, to try and like figure out the why by recreating it and then falling into the same trap. So like it's super, super meta potentially.
Wow.
Right. Potentially, yes.
Way to fucking choose your own adventure, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently it was kept captivating for the both of you because you're
It turns out that Bandersnatch is actually as good as the Iliad and the Odyssey. Turns out.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. Like I dig what Ben's saying because like I feel like this happens often on the podcast is that like we're in the process of talking about something we end up discovering some other layer to it. You know what I mean? Like I knew there was a lot of layers there, like some really cool ones too. And like, I forgot to comment before, Chad, you were saying like, I have a real visceral reaction to like the kid when he died on the train or whatever. And like, just the whole part with the bunny, I don't know, that really like, I really responded to that as well emotionally. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know, like the whole thing about the theory that I just posited is like, that's where it goes in and out of the fourth wall. Like it's totally real and it's totally not real. It like exists in both places.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like it starts off as a show, you're watching it, and then in the course of the interactive adventure, he has a daughter, and that daughter grows up to be the person in our time that's creating the story in reality. So it exists in both places. Like I don't know, whatever. That
well, I think
that's my theory.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I think this is a good opportunity to break the fifth wall, because if we talk about that particular stuff anymore, we're going to end up crazy like they ended up, and it's going to be like another layer of fucked upness. So
you already are.
You really just you just knocked it out of the park, bro.
Can we transition to the simpler times where we just talk about little anecdotes that we like, and then that'll be that?
Why is this like suddenly taboo to do?
It's not taboo. It's just
I don't think it is at all.
We're gonna start, quoting Aldous Huxley and taking mushrooms to, make the show more realistic.
I'm just kidding, Chad. All right. I'll shelve my quantum fourth wall breaking super nerded theory.
I liked it.
I like it too, but you're right. So, anecdotally, whatever. Yep.
Anecdotally, did you guys catch any of the like little changes when it looped back through? I enjoyed that a lot.
Wait, what? Like what?
So, first major decision, agree to the game, disagree to the game being made.
Yeah.
So if you say yes, I'll make the game, it says, nah, man, wrong choice. You fail, and then you cycle back, and the scene that you watch, you think is going to be identical to the scene that you previously watched, but, Colin's showing a demo of his weird game, and the game crashes, and instead of Colin saying, oh, it's crashed because the graphics processor did this, that, and the other, Stefan says it, so it's like, have we met before kind of thing, like the little subtle tweaks.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Yes, I did dig that. I like that because I went through that choice thread as well. Like I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So quite a few times throughout, there were like little changes, like Colin may be in a room here if he didn't jump off the balcony, or Colin wouldn't be in a room because he did jump off the balcony and stuff like that. I like that there was, it wasn't just rinse and repeat the same thing. I think without those little tweaks, it would have gotten a little stale faster, maybe.
Yes. And sort of back to my quantum super nerded fourth wall theory, in those little alternate scenes, like Colin, and I remember in two of them, they were both different, and he says like, wrong choice, mate, or something like that.
Yep.
And I was like, wait a second. I was like, hold on, bro. Does he know that he's inside of a show, man, or what? Like, you know what I mean?
All right,
the idiot in me was like the whatever. Okay, fine. God damn, dude. I can't. I'm like Rodney Dangerfield in this episode.
I like
Can't get no respect, and I keep dying. That's my sixth death, dude.
Hey, it's very fitting that you've died 6 times in a Choose Your Own Adventure show.
Oh shit, dude.
telling you guys, we're trapped.
We are trapped.
We're trapped.
So I didn't know, Benny, that the glyph was in other Black Mirror stuff, because I liked that the glyph was kind of like a branching of two paths. What can you remember any of the other shows that it was part of?
Yeah, Ben.
Good Lord. There's one where I can't remember the name of the episode. So the one time I remember seeing it was the episode where it's like, you know, the woman comes to and like fucking town is like gone crazy. There's like fucking people wearing like crazy like costumes and like chasing them around with shotguns and shit. And like it turns out that she's like, this is like her punishment for a crime that she committed.
Yeah, that's the episode I watched with Emma.
Aha.
That was like, oh god, this is the
Okay.
That was the episode that I was like, oh, we should watch this show. Let's just pick a random one, and it was like the most fucked up thing I'd ever seen.
I'm pretty sure I saw that symbol in that episode.
Yeah, okay. It's been so long. You're probably right. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure. And I want to say I've seen it show up in other ones as well. Like it's just one of those weird things that they've been sort of like foreshadowing with or whatever, you know?
Yeah, which I guess makes sense if like maybe the show's been in development for a couple years. It would make sense to sprinkle it in just as like a post-watch Easter egg or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Fuck. I wish I knew 100% now. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right.
I don't think. Yeah. Yeah, I recognized it when I saw it. I was like, "Oh, that thing again. That's interesting."
It was in the episode White Bear.
Yeah, that's the episode, I think.
Yes.
And that was it. That was the only time it appeared.
Okay, cool. Jimmy let you know that one?
Yeah, it was Jimmy. Yep.
Good
old Jimmy.
Good old James.
Okay.
Doing the hard work, man.
James T.
All
Google.
right,
Good memory, Benny.
Well, I mean, after this conversation we've been having, I'm beginning to wonder, you know.
Yeah. Are you actually remembering, or is somebody whispering it into your ears?
Did I actually remember that, or is that like some implanted? Did somebody implant that? Like,
Speaking of, did somebody plant that? In the opening scene, after you choose your cereal, the dad gets mad because the neighbor's dog is digging up the garden bed. I'm convinced that the neighbor's dog is digging up the garden bed because that's where you bury your dad.
Yep.
No. What?
So similar to what you were saying with your meta fourth wall thing, like how self-aware is the show of itself before the show even starts, insinuating that you starting Bandersnatch isn't the first loop. Where you bury your dad is where the dog is digging. So it's kind of like if you start the show and go all the way through the end, you bury your dad in the same place, and the dog comes and digs it up again, and you get busted and go to prison.
Holy shit! Wow.
So I kind of feel like there were a couple instances throughout there where it's kind of... Oh, and also when you're on the bus, the first time you ever watch the show, before you pick the music on the bus, they drive by a billboard with the glyph on it as well. So,
ooh, very interesting.
So I kind of feel like kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where, you know, whenever the fucking kid that sees dead people sees the color red, the person's dead. You know, like the secret shit that you only pick up on by reading about it or like seeing it on another viewing or something.
Right. Yep.
So I thought the dog digging one was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
And the only other thing that jumps out at me, if you guys saw it, was the mirror scene. So if you say to your doctor you want to talk about your mom, and then you pick up the picture instead of the book, you end up going through the mirror in the bathroom instead of not being able to go through.
Yes, I saw. That was really trippy, man. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed, like, when he goes through the mirror, he teleports, he kind of comes through as the child actor. And that was a really cool scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I thought that was very cool. That really, like, I don't know, that really bothered me. I got really, like, emotional about that whole thing. I don't know why.
All the kid flashback stuff?
I guess, yeah. Probably because I have kids. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It was just whatever. I was reactive.
Oh! Sorry to be fucking hogging the mic here, but I saw a really cool thing where Netflix has all the data on what people chose and actually like released a couple of things. Like they won't release all the data just because they don't want to, but they said that 60% of first-time viewers picked Frosted Flakes and 70% of first-time viewers picked Accept as the yes/no to the making the game.
Wow.
And then they added one little kind of funny anecdote, which was when it came to throwing the tea on the computer or destroying the computer or whatever, 53% of British viewers through the T and 56% of worldwide viewers through the T, indicating that British viewers are less likely to waste tea, which was quite funny.
Wow, that is pretty funny.
It's very fucking British.
Very, very fucking British. Yeah. I don't. Wow. That was
Perfectly
interesting.
good cup of tea. That is. Don't fucking throw
Well,
it on
you
the
know-
computer.
Well, here's what's funny about that last stat, Chad, is that my instinct was to not destroy the computer in any way. So
Yeah.
I was like, I remember when that choice came up, and I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't want to pour tea on this computer, nor do I want to destroy it. I would never do that.
Yeah.
Why would I destroy a helpless computer like that? Like it's so stupid. Like I
Poor
would never
Wally.
do that. Why
That's
would you
funny.
give me such choices, Bandersnatch? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes it really painted you into a corner.
Right, but also seemed kind of a seemingly random thing to do as well in the situations that were handed to you at the time. Like to throw tea on your computer seemed like what? What is that? What the fuck does that have to do with anything that's going on in the scene right now?
Yeah.
I know, totally. And he only pours it on the keyboard. It's like, dude, if you really want to do some damage, like open up the drive and get it in there, brother.
Get it in there, good. Spread it around.
You know, I mean, like we've all smashed a controller or two in our day. I'm even guilty, you know,
Oh,
old
dude.
Mulvey. So, I mean, come on.
The beauty of the old Nintendo controllers is they had really long cords. You could whip them around the room really fast.
Oh, gee, I didn't know that.
Now you need to buy one on eBay.
just like as a stress toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember the carpenter coming over to fix the panels on the wall that my brother and I kicked in with our feet due to video game rage.
Yeah, fair enough.
In fact,
You know-
video game rage might have been born in my home.
You know, I can recommend a sheetrocker that can fix that for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And who's that?
that would be Groot. Groot sheetrocking.
Groot sheetrocking and plaster. Another bucket of joy compound here, boys. I told you we were going to wear that into the ground, folks, and
Here
we
it
are
is.
doing
Not-
it now.
Not letting it go.
And we are not letting it go. Despite Jarhigo's pleading,
Yeah,
we are not letting it go.
Jarhigo didn't even get to finish his story.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? That too. That's why he doesn't. That's why he wants.
Do you
want
want to? Do you want to take the opportunity to finish your story, Jarhigo?
Wait, what story?
The story from the Groot segment.
I
dude.
interrupted
That
you
was
with Groot sheetrocking, and you never got to talk about Vin Diesel on stilts, and it seems to be a thing.
I knew that's what you were talking about. Yeah.
What's really funny is that Groot is on stilts. Like, Groot doesn't fucking need stilts, man. It defeats the point.
How true is that? That's
he could just
funny.
grow his legs longer, dude. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, he's already, yeah, exactly. He's already like towering and lanky. So yeah,
All he has to
Yeah.
do is like grow his finger longer, and he could like plaster all day, man. You know,
it's like built-in thing longer, man.
built-in fing longer. I love that.
Ben is, of course, referring to the trailer for our show that has some funny imagery, including Groot's sheetrocking.
Yes, don't forget to check that out, folks.
What's fing-longing?
Thing longer?
When you make your finger
Fing-longer.
longer.
Did you just make that up? If so, you're a genius. If not, what's it
He
in
did
reference
make
to?
it up, and he is a genius, and that's
No,
why
I-
he's Jarhigo.
No. That's from Futurama.
Aw, dude, why? I was really hoping that was your own thing because I was really into that.
I like it.
It's. I mean, need I say more? Thing longer. It's just funny.
It's genius.
I know it is. And Futurama's genius, as was The
That is
Simpsons.
great, yeah.
If there weren't 600 episodes, we should probably do a show about it sometime.
If only I invented the thing longer.
Oh my God, the Doctor, Billy West is the Doctor, man. Jeez, he was my favorite.
Yes.
What do you say we quickly give this show a rating? It doesn't need to be an official rating, but just like an overall. What you thought? I'm gonna go for me letter grades. So Benny, why don't you rate this beast? What do you think?
Letter grade. Okay. Well, it's complicated because I think there was a lot of good material in this interactive experience. I just the frustration of just trying to get through it was a little, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it really did, like, just brought the whole thing down for me. So I don't know. I mean, I think somewhere in there's an A, but I'm going with like a B minus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's higher than I thought you would have given it based on your negative experience.
A B minus is like when your parents tell you that they're really disappointed in you.
I love it.
It's like they're not yelling at you, you're not getting grounded, but like you're just like your tail is between your legs.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
I think that
yeah.
I feel like that's more like a C or a C minus, but I'm feeling you totally. I'm with you, Ben.
So is that where you're at?
That's
Kev?
just my
C minus.
I wouldn't say no. C minus, no. Wow, a letter grade. I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Fair.
And here's the reason why. I'm gonna give it a B plus because, and not an A, because I think it's brilliant. Okay, I think the acting's great, the story's great, all that's great. I understand Jarhigo's frustration with it, and I can totally see that point of view to the point where that's taking some grade away from me. I also think that the Netflix inclusion, I'm going to ignore my quantum fourth wall super nerd theory for 1 second, and the inclusion of Netflix within the show, like as a device, also sort of makes it take some grade away for me. So that's why it's a B plus. If that makes any sense at all, I have no idea.
Yep.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to split the difference. I think for me, I'll just give it a B in between you two guys.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
A B for Bandersnatch, folks. There you have it. 3 Bs for Bandersnatch.
B for Bandersnatch.
I think that this is the first time we've all been kind of in a similar mindset with ratings. Yeah, I think very similar to you, Kev. Like the Netflix thing really kicked it down a notch for me, but there's no point in retreading it. I really respect how ballsy it is to try and tackle something like this, and the amount of work they had to put in to shoot all these different scenes and stuff.
Yes, definitely.
It was quite clever. Similar to how they bitch about it in the game, with the game being made by Colin not having enough branches, I kind of feel like a little bit more of a branch out would have been interesting, but at the same time, like I'm not going to go. I went through the thing 5 times, so I'm not. If there was more of a branch out, you'd probably have to go through it, maybe even an order of magnitude more. So instead of 5 times, you'd have to go through it 50 times to see everything. So I don't know how much patience I would have for that.
Right, but Chad, once you go through 5 times, you can call yourself an official Bandersnatchian.
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead.
I now have a Bandersnatch.
I like what you did there.
Hey, so like it was ambitious, and I think they pulled a lot of it off. And like you said, the acting was good, and a lot of it was quite good. And even the endings, like even the Netflix ending, I'm not a big fan of, but a lot of the other endings were interesting, and the way that it was woven together was good. It's just maybe like the main reason it's a B instead of an A for me is that I don't think interactive media is going to go as far as traditional media. I feel like the ground that we covered in like talking about talking about the MCU as a 23 movie series, I feel like longer form traditional storytelling is going to go a lot farther than interactive storytelling. The interactive world is being adequately serviced by video games. Video games are plenty good enough. And I think your point, Ben, about how sometimes you just want to kick back and be entertained and having to jump up. It's kind of like the days before there were remote controls. It's fucking annoying. Nobody wants to do it, and it just stops happening after a while. So that's kind of why it didn't hit an A for me.
No, dude, can you get up and change the channel?
The deaths. Kev, you died more times in this show than I died watching Bandersnatch 5 times.
This is the largest amount of deaths I've ever incurred during an episode of this podcast. And I actually wrote them down this time because we're such a bunch of blowouts. We forget every single week.
Yeah, I think I forgot mine.
So my deaths were in order of death. I died on that whole spider thing from Goodfellas. I died when I mentioned it, and it was like crickets. And then I died again because Spider dies in that scene. That's death 1 and 2. Number 3 was The Price is Right death. Ben made The Price is Right noise. I thought it was funny. I asked Jarhigo to repeat The Price is Right noise, and he summarily scolded me like a child and said, they heard it.
Dance, monkey, dance.
And then he moved on. And I was dejected, crying in my oversized pillow. Fourth death. Oh, Papa Palpatine, man. So I was explaining
Star Wars reference
why
death. That's going to be a theme.
It was a Star Wars reference death about Palpatine, and it just went over like a lead balloon. Fifth and final death was when I brought up Chad started talking about the little subtle changes in the scenes, and I brought up how Colin had said wrong choice mate, and somehow just you two were like, yeah, no.
Nah.
That's it.
That's it, man. I think I died talking about the alternative reality games. I think I babbled on about that for a while. I think that was how I died. Is that how I died?
Yeah, you died going on about Halo 2.
There you go.
Yeah.
What about you, Benny?
Yeah, and I don't even remember now. There were a couple of them though. There was one right at the beginning, and then there was one in the midst of things. Fuck.
I love the tradition that you never remember. I love it. I don't think you've ever remembered.
I love it too.
You know what? I get distracted by everybody else's deaths as they occur. You know?
When we started the segment, you're like, I know exactly how I died. And then we all went on about it. And now you don't remember.
Yeah, now I don't remember. So there's that.
There it is. So next week, we're talking Umbrella Academy. You guys recommended it, and I'm pretty stoked to talk about it.
I am also stoked.
Stoked indeed.
Yes, I just wanted to say for the folks at home, thanks for tuning in. We always enjoy having you here on the podcast, and we always enjoy doing the podcast. So long from Mulvey.
See you guys.
Adios, people.
And that's going to wrap up this week's episode. If you want to find links to the stuff we spoke about today, you can find them in the show notes in your podcast app of choice or at the website ebd.fm/18. If you have any thoughts on the show or an idea for a topic, hit us up on Twitter at ebdpod. You can find me at Moverine on Twitter. That's MOHLVERINE. Chad is at Chad Normal on Twitter, and Ben is at Jarhigo on Twitter. That's JARHEEGO. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, folks.